Okay, so this is a math review for introductory physics, and in this video I want to talk about the Pythagorean theorem. So Pythagorean theorem is something that works for right triangles only. In other words, you got to make sure you have that 90-degree angle in order to use the Pythagorean theorem. And in order to use it, we should probably label the lengths of the sides. So I'll call this side A, this side B, and this side C. It's customary to label the hypotenuse as C. You don't have to, but usually that's the way it's written in textbooks. So I'm going to do that. So Pythagorean theorem says that if you take a squared and add it to b squared, then that should equal c squared. Now, when you're doing this, you have to make sure that c in the equation is the hypotenuse. In other words, the thing that's on the side by itself, that side over here on this side of the equation, has to be the hypotenuse. So I'll say C must, and that's important, be the hypotenuse. It's an easy mistake to make when you're writing it to include the hypotenuse on the other side of the equation, but then it won't work. You'll get the wrong answer. Okay, so let's practice. Suppose we have this triangle right here, and we want to find that missing side x. So to find the missing side x, I can use Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's see, what do I get? Well, I want x, so I'll do x squared, and I'll say that equals 4 squared plus 9 squared. Right? No, not right. This is wrong. Remember, you have to have the hypotenuse by itself on one side of the equation. I didn't do that. So this is just an example of something you don't want to do. No, this is wrong. Don't write it like that. Okay. So let's do it the right way. So the right way would be to make sure the hypotenuse, which in this case is 9, is by itself on one side of the equation. So I could say x squared plus 4 squared equals 9 squared. Now I'm okay, because the hypotenuse is 9, and the 9 is by itself on one side of the equation. Okay, so that would be x squared, 4 squared is 16, and 9 squared is 81. And I can subtract 16 from both sides, because I want to get that x by itself. And 16 minus 16 is 0, so I just have x squared on the left-hand side, and then 81 minus 16 is 65, and now I can square root both sides, and so x actually equals plus or minus the square root of 65, but I can't have a negative length, so positive root 65. Now remember, when you're using Pythagorean theorem, you gotta check and make sure that you have a right triangle. You gotta have that 90-degree angle, otherwise Pythagorean theorem will not work.